Hey guys, David the Fishing Pastor here, and it's time for another Tackle Talk Tuesday, and today we're talking about matching the hatch. Okay guys, so I hope you enjoyed last week's Tackle Talk Tuesday on spring crankbait fishing, but today I'm going to talk about a different topic, and it's kind of debated within the fishing community, and that's match the hatch. And if you haven't heard that term or you don't know what that is, it's just really matching your bait or your lure to the natural forage that's in the water as closely as possible. So that can be in the paint or the look of the lure bait itself. That can be in the action. That can be in the profile of the bait. All that stuff kind of comes into account when you're talking about match the hatch. And like I said, it's a little bit debated. Some guys don't care. Some guys don't really think it matters. Some guys will swear by it. And so I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about it today and kind of what I think about match the hatch. And there's a few things that I think come into account when you're talking about match the hatch. And number one is the kind of forage that you have, obviously, in your water. You know, if you have a predominantly shad lake, or you have a predominantly bluegill lake, I think, or pond or river or whatever you're fishing, I think all that comes into account. You know, there's one lake that I fish personally that is a shad lake, and although I know there's bluegill, there's crappie, there's crawfish, there's even trout, I believe. The main forage is shad, and I think kind of knowing your water is going to really help. Knowing what the fish are eating is going to help. And so, like I said, some guys don't think it matters, and I think overall, before kind of getting into all of it, overall, I think the answer is sometimes. I really do. I don't think it's always. I don't think it's never. I think it's sometimes. And like I said, there's a few things that come into account, and I'll mention those. But like I said, just knowing what the fish are eating. You know, like I said, that one lake that I fished that has shad in it, I know that it's the main forage. It's what I can see the fish feeding on, or the bass feeding on there. In the warmer months, they're chasing the schools of shad. Yeah, I'm gonna pick up a shad imitating lure. This is a Rapala Rip and Wrap lipless crankbait, and it has not only the paint job but the profile of a shad. Has kind of that tight shimmy, has a little bit of a rattle in it, so it makes noise. This thing is killer in a shad lake. You know, if I want to go even more realistic, then I can pick up something like this little swim bait. This is the Live Target swim bait. Again, paint job, profile, it even has a softer body, and matches the forage. And I'm going to catch fish on them. I know I am. But I know that there's other forage. There's crawfish and there's bluegill. But in that lake in particular, I don't throw those patterns of baits because I haven't caught fish on them. You know, and part of it, I think, too, is a confidence thing. I'm like, man, they're chasing shad. I'm going to throw that on. I know I'm going to catch a fish. So I have more confidence with it. And confidence is a whole nother topic that we'll talk about in a whole nother day. But I think it can help your chances. But like I said, knowing the forage in your water can help. What is the natural thing that they are feeding on? What is, you know, what are they looking for? You know, and again, there's a few more things that come into account. Number one is the pressure on the water that you're fishing. Now, most of the ponds and lakes around my area are highly pressured. Every time I go, there's somebody fishing for bass, for panfish, for carp, for catfish, whatever. Highly pressured waters, and sometimes they don't want to bite on the stuff they see all the time. So you can do one of two things. You can either throw something that looks like the natural forage, and if that doesn't work, then you can throw something that they've never seen before. And I kind of mentioned this last week, but I've thrown, you know, there's one. I'll give you one example. There's a pond that I fish often, and I know the forage there is bluegill. You know, there's crawfish. I know there's no shad. It's a pond. There's no shad in it. But the majority of fish I catch on shad lures, and it may be just because the profile is smaller. It may be because it's something they don't normally see. And they will bite on crawfish pattern baits, but they will not bite on bluegill pattern baits. And I know that that's the forage in there is bluegill, but they will not bite on it. I don't know why. So, you know, I think, like I said, the answer is sometimes. The other main factor is, where are you fishing from? Are you fishing from the bank, or are you fishing on the water? Because, you know, I'll tell you, the majority of fishing that I do is from the bank, even though I have a kayak, and I'll be doing a lot more kayak fishing this summer. But the majority of fishing that I do is from the bank. And bank fishermen, you are the most limited fishermen out there. You have limited access, limited space, and you have to get creative sometimes. You have to think out of the box. Like, okay, I have 6 feet of space that I can fish in. I can mostly fish straight out. I can kind of fish close to the bank, but not really. And you're super limited. You have trees on top of you, all this stuff. You know, guys on boats and kayaks and stuff. And again, I have a kayak. Have it much easier. You can cover a whole lot more water. You can get into a whole lot more places, and not that you have it easy, you just have it easier because you're not as limited, you know, as somebody who's on the bank. So sometimes you got to get creative. And like I said, I you know, if I have bluegill, then I'm gonna pick something up like this. I'm gonna throw a lipless crankbait that looks like a bluegill. Really great patterns. Great paint jobs. You know, the profile starts to match a bluegill a little bit. They see it come by, a lot of times they're gonna strike at it. You can get, you know, bigger baits. You know, get into the swim baits. And although this one does have a bluegill pattern, it doesn't look super realistic. What it has going for it is a really great action. Same thing here. Some really great actions, but they do imitate the bait. You know, you can get into the more realistic, the soft bodies. You know, take your time, fish these on beds, things like that. And then the really super realistic ones, like this one here. You know, the look, the profile, the action, all of it really does a great job of imitating that bait, you know, and depending on the season, depending on the water, depending on your access to certain spots, can all come into account. And like I said, when you got to think out of the box, I don't think it'll hurt your chances to throw something that looks like the forage. But again, they might not want that. You know, I've done some drop shot fishing here in a lake near me, and sometimes I'll throw the bold bluegill pattern, you know, bait, and they want it. It looks a little bit more natural. Sometimes they won't bite it, so I'll throw on a pink and purple worm, and they'll bite it. You know, it's just kind of a crazy thing, and you don't have to be limited. I don't think you have to be limited to match. Oh, I only throw baits that look like it. You don't have to be limited to that. You know, you can throw a clown-colored jerk bait or whatever and still get bites. Again, sometimes they want something they've never seen. It'll intrigue them. You know, bass are pretty curious creatures. You know, they'll look at something and you'll sometimes see them following, and they're like, yeah, I want to know what that is. And sometimes they'll go for it. They'll go and they'll smash it or suck it in or get a hold of it or whatever. You know, but yeah, it's just kind of this debated topic. And like I said, this one wasn't going to be as long as the other one. But just let me know what you guys think. Let me know whether you think match the hatch even matters, whether you should throw baits and lures that match the forage in your water, or you're like, I don't even care. Like, I'm going to throw whatever. But again, you don't have to be limited by it. But it's just it can help you if you're not able to catch fish. You know, match what's in there. You know, and again, knowing your waters, knowing the kind of bait fish. Do some fishing for bait fish in your area and see what's there. See what the patterns look like. See throughout every season what the fish are looking like, or what the bait is looking like, so that you can match it. You know, if the bite gets tough. You know, spring is coming up, or spring is here really. I think today's the first day of spring actually, and you know, hey, the fish are getting up on the beds. They're protecting their beds from bluegill who are trying to come in and eat their eggs. Yeah, I'm gonna throw something on their bed that looks like a bluegill. They're already angry about it, but you can throw white lures on a bed and get them to bite. Again, they're just trying to protect it. So there's different things to try, and like I said, I think overall the answer is, does it matter? I think sometimes it does. I think really sometimes it can make a difference. But like I said, I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think about this debated topic of match to hatch. Does it matter? Does it not matter? Do you do it? Do you not do it? You know, I don't know. I don't know. This is just my opinion on it. I like to throw lures that I think are going to match it, but that's not always the case. It's not always the case. I'm throwing jigs that are black and blue because the water is stained or the water is dirty. But I haven't seen a black crawfish in my body of water, right? So does it matter? Does it ever matter for you? Do you think that the answer is sometimes? But like I said, if you're fishing from the bank or from a kayak or boat or whatever, you're having a tough time, try it. Try it and see if it works for you. Throw on something that looks like the bait and see if it does anything for you. You have trout, throw on a trout lure. You have shad, throw on something that imitates a shad. You have bluegill, throw something that looks like a bluegill. Whatever it is, you have crawfish, throw on some crawbaits and see if that works for you. And yeah, I mean, if you're having a tough time, sometimes you go through fishing slumps. I've been kind of going through a fishing slump lately, and not been able to really connect with as many fish as I'd like, but that's how it goes. So I'm gonna the next time I go out, I'm gonna probably throw some more baits and lures that imitate my natural forage. See if that helps. See if that helps in the pressured waters, things like that. But yeah, like I said, let me know what you guys think. I'm interested in hearing from you. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. A couple things. Remember to get your Pray Fish Repeat shirts to be entered to win a Casting Mullet 2 spinning reel. So close to 2,000 subs, and we'll do some giveaways after that. A couple of prize packs there. And follow me on Instagram if you're not already there. So thank you guys. Really appreciate every one of you. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the like button. And yeah, like always, remember to pray, fish, repeat. God bless you guys. I'll see you in my next video.